Hi. So for the past couple of months, I had a little bit of time of making more tracks, and now I have time to shooting videos about those tracks and sharing you how I made them, because I just like doing that, and I know there are people like watching these sort of videos. Again, these are not kind of tutorials. I don't really teach or say how to do what to do. I rather just show the way I work, because in all fairness, I don't even know what I'm doing. I just do things intuitively, and what happens, it just happens, and I don't mind sharing that. And I just want to encourage you to not think too much about your productions. If you like making music, don't overthink about anything. I do that all the time, and it messes up with my head when I overthink what I do. But what really matters is making music must be fun. Once it's not fun anymore, just quit, don't do it. And it usually is always not fun when you're just sitting way too long on your projects, on your tracks, and then when you think that you need to fix that and need to fix that, then that for me, at least personally, I'm not a perfectionist. There's the saying, better done than perfect. So I go by that. You know, I enjoy making music, and as long as I enjoy making music, I enjoy the end result, and I just want to share with you my processes. And while I normally praise, making music with hardware, using my sampler and that kind of stuff, I don't always use that. For example, I have my other channel for ambient music. Everything I do over there is done 100% in the box, because the ambient that I do requires totally different approach and totally different sort of sound design and stuff. So it's a lot better when you do it in the box using plugins, because they allow you to reach the kind of results. But sometimes when I work on an old school jungle or that kind of stuff, I tend to be leaning more towards the workflow of hardware, because then you can get to different results, and I just like the sound of the hardware. And that being said, the track that I'm gonna be showing you today is sort of like an intelligent drum and bass and stuff, but I'm using a bit of a hybrid setup for this. I'm not using the Akai S1000 here, because for once I have limited time for making music, and when I have that time, I want to spend it efficiently. And when I'm using hardware, when I'm using Akai S1000, that thing needs time to program before you can even start making music. So what I mean by that, you need to sample stuff into it, breaks and other stuff. Then you need to chop them, change some stuff inside the Akai, create programs, create key groups. So that might take a good half an hour of sort of this administrative work before you can even start making music. So to avoid that, I sometimes turn into the software-based music production. In this case, in this track that I'm going to be showing you, I'm using Reason 12 and the AMIGO VST plugin, which is really amazing plugin, and sadly it doesn't work with my beloved Cubase, so I have to use Reason for that, but I don't mind. I'm so used to that workflow as well, so I'm good with that. So I'm using 8 instances of I'm using 8 instances of Amiga sampler, and then I don't have anything else going on in the software, just pure sampler and just pure Amiga sample instances. Then I send those 8 channels to my sound card, which then allows me to connect all those sounds to my mixing desk, and then I do the usual Mixdown as I would do with the Akai S1000. So basically the Amiga serves me as an S1000, but it's a lot quicker to program it. And I just also want to touch on that Amiga is really great sampler. It's a software sampler, but it has its own character. It has this 8-bit sort of crunch. So whenever I use it, or you use it, it gives that instant, hardware analog kind of sound, and it's a lot quicker to program. You just drag and drop your samples, chop it up quickly, 20 seconds, and it's done. So it's very good. I now quickly jump into the screen. I'm gonna run quickly of how I programmed everything and what's the deal. This is the session, as you can see, very simple, not much is going on at all. So the first track is obviously drums. So it's just like a very long loop that I chopped in a very simple phrases inside the Amigos. Let's hear it. 808 bass. I've done the chord. The chord is basically another thing I want to touch upon, samples. I know that there's a lot of sample libraries out there. You can you can use, basically there's a lot of sample libraries out there, and I tend to avoid using them. I really use them very little. I mostly use sample libraries for drums, some breaks, and some occasional effect sounds, but I try to make as many as my own samples as possible because I still want my music to be, you know, authentic. I don't want to use same samples everybody else is using, and I encourage everyone to do that as well. Try creating your own samples. So this particular chord sample, I've used my microKORG sounds, internal sound engine to create my own pads, and then I just play various chords into the computer, and then I later use them as samples. So another sound is this kind of sequenced sequence. So basically I played that as well with my microKORG and then chopped that into Amigos. Next one is effects. A shaker, simple shaker. And a voice, I think I've sampled for some sci-fi 60s movies.
Reactor room stand by. Reactor room stand by. Reactor room stand by.
And I have another instance of, on my channel, that I'm using just a microKORG to add some extra notes. And that really is simple as that. Amigo sampler instances goes into my sound cards, which has 8 outputs that I then connect to my mixing desk, and I do all the mixing on a mixing desk, including effects and EQs. And I have this Behringer compressor slapped on my master bus doing the compressing.
Reactor room stand by.